today Karen Odell, the head of community at Osmo. Karen, welcome to the show. And I am holding Osmo up right now for our viewers to see. I have the Tanagram box and the word box, so you guys can kind of take a look. And I wanted to, first of all, introduce you and have you tell us a little bit about what Osmo is. And we have a quick video that we can show when you're done describing it. And then on top of that, I have a ton of questions for you because many of our families love using Osmo. And so why don't you just start with telling us what Osmo is, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, Sarah, this is an awesome program, and I'm happy to be here. So what we're doing with Osmo is we have a game system for the iPad where kids are playing in front of the touchscreen instead of being restricted to the touchscreen only of the device. So we have a series of 4 apps, and each of them includes an element where kids have physical manipulatives in their hands. So it opens up to a new type of learning experience.
Wonderful. And can you tell me a little bit about how Osmo came about? So I know that you've been with the company for from the very beginning, and you probably have a good idea of how it started and kind of how we were able to get that in our hands today.
Sure. So Osmo was started by 2 young fathers, Jerome Scholler and Pramod Sharma. They were both working at Google and engineers, and they had young kids at home, and they noticed that their kids were very attached to the device, the iPad or the tablet. And so they set out to solve this problem, which is, might there be a richer way for kids to use screen tablet technology? And so the 2 of them collaborated a couple years back, and what we have now is Osmo.
And what skills does it target? So when you're working with Osmo, you are using the iPad, and we know kids love the technology and they love being able to have screen time, but they're not actually playing with the iPad. They're playing with things that they're manipulating that are actually palpable and actually on the ground in front of them. So what are they developing? What skills are they working on when they're playing with Osmo?
Right. So there are a couple main things. I think the fact that they're physical manipulatives means that fine motor skill development is at work, and it really opens up to multi-sensory learning and engagement. So that's one key learning benefit. The other one is social learning, emotional learning. So the fact that the iPad play experience has been opened up means that a child's friend can join with them in the play. So now softer skills like collaboration and team building, collective problem solving, taking turns, these skills can be practiced and played now with the iPad. And maybe before, when it was just the touchscreen, it wasn't as set up for that.
I realized before we started I didn't really explain to our viewers what it looks like. So what I have here, I'm holding up in front of me, is this white base. And then what you need to have is an iPad. So the iPad actually docks in the base, and you can see that it kind of links here. I have the app open. And then the most important part is this kind of red component, and it has a mirror built in that goes over the camera of your iPad. And that reflective technology is what allows your iPad to see what's going on in front of you. So Karen, could you tell me a little bit about the age range that is really targeted using Osmo? What have you found? Which kids have kind of benefited from it most or are more likely to use this?
Sure. So Osmo was designed for kids, we say ages 6+. But I like to point out the versatility within or in all of the apps. As one example, a couple weeks ago we had a really meaningful story come in from one of our customers. He was 81 years old, and I guess he has a Facebook account, and on his social media he was sharing that he felt Osmo was great to keep his mind sharp, and he was really promoting the learning benefits of Osmo for him. So it really just varies, and that is inherently built into each of our games. So there's multiple levels. We refrain from sticking grade levels or ages per in the games, just so it can be used by a variety of ages, developmental levels, and whatnot. So that's intentional. We want Osmo to be for everyone, really.
Yeah, and I know I enjoy it. I mean, I'll stay up all night and play and try and beat
Yeah,
all the
me
levels.
too.
But I have personally seen that a lot of our families who have kids on the spectrum are using Osmo. And that's why I reached out to you, because I thought it was a really wonderful thing, and it's rare to find a typical game that can really apply to all different age ranges and developmental levels. And one thing about it is that, as you mentioned, social thinking or social interaction is a huge component of it. And as you know, social skills can come in all shapes and sizes. And some of the most early social skills that we see in infants is eye contact, and going all the way up to having a conversation is kind of a more complex social skill. And Osmo really, what I've seen, really focuses on what's known as joint attention. So it's being able to follow a gaze or see the reference point between two different objects. And Osmo does a great job of that, so you can follow what the actual iPad is saying and look down at a second object and kind of see how the two relate. And I think that's a really huge component of what makes this app really successful for people on the spectrum, because that's something they're really trying to work towards. I wanted to ask you why you thought some of our families are drawn to it, and what components of it you think could benefit individuals on the spectrum. I'll start with that, and I have a follow-up question for you as well.
Yeah, sure. So most of our findings about Osmo for kids on the spectrum come from our community and customer feedback. And what we've seen is just an influx of or just consistently we're getting messages from parents of kids who have special needs who are telling us that the product is valuable for them and meaningful, and they feel good about it. And for a lot of reasons. I mean, joint attention, like you just mentioned. I think something that's really important is, like I mentioned earlier, the collaboration. I think sometimes screens can feel safe because eye contact is scary, and so kids get really attached for that reason. And so I think Osmo, the stand, the base, the setup, allows for someone else to enter your space with the iPad, which maybe makes it feel a little safer, and then you can ease in and share the space, which is really hard for some kids. So that's one benefit that I've heard consistently. So I think there are several things, and it's just so meaningful to hear all of the feedback that we get, and like we love all of our fans, we love all of our customers and all the supporters of the product. But parents with kids on the spectrum, when we hear from them, there's an element of like real value that they perceive, and that's really awesome for us to hear.
Yeah, and right actually before we started filming, I was telling you that I had just recently posted on Love My Provider's Instagram, and we had an influx of parents saying, "Oh my God, I love it," or "I've been meaning to get it," and some saying, how they feel about it. And so I reached out to you, and I'm really excited to announce that you guys are going to join with us to do a giveaway to some of our families.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to get an Osmo into one of our families' hands that don't already have it. So to enter into the giveaway, what you would need to do is post a picture of your child playing with their favorite game or toy. It doesn't have to be Osmo, it can be playing in whatever they love the most, and add the hashtag #PlayOsmo and the hashtag #LoveMyProvider. And next week we're going to take a look at all of those photos, and we're going to pick someone that is going to get sent a brand new Osmo just for them. And what I'd like to do before we close is, Karen, what's the best way to learn more about Osmo? Tell us your website, your Twitter, Facebook, all that. How can people find out more about Osmo if they're interested in getting one for their loved one?
Sure. So the best way is to go to our website, playosmo.com. And I'd like to mention we have a promotion going on right now. If you buy an Osmo at our website, we will give you the opportunity to donate one to a local school or a therapy center. So we have that offer going on right now. So it's a great time to buy.
That's wonderful.
And then our Twitter is @PlayOsmo, and Facebook is /PlayOsmo. You can find us there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming onto the show, and we're so excited to share your thoughts with our families, and excited to get an Osmo into some of their hands. So thank you again.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me.